Well, hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to another edition of the FutureSox podcast. My name is Ian Eskridge. Joining me, as always, Mr. James Fox. And joining us tonight as a special event here, Mr. Steve Hasman, a.k.a. Sleepy Harold. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Can't complain too much. How you doing, James? You good?
Oh, fine. Yeah. Sundays are good. So
Sort of,
kind of.
anyway.
Oh God. Yeah. Other than like the watching the Bears part, but yeah, like I like the rest of the league. So Sundays are fine.
Yeah, how long did you watch that?
Until I saw Tyson Bagent, and then I turned it off.
Yes.
And then I was arguing with people were like, "Oh, they just benched the." I'm like, they didn't bench anybody. The game's over. It's like this is what teams do in blowouts. But yeah, it's kind of like, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, that was even I was like, stop it. He's already dead.
Yeah. Right.
So some interesting things have happened this week. Get away from that nastiness for you. Some interesting things happened this weekend in the front office for the White Sox. Josh Barfield was apparently considered for the Baltimore Orioles GM position, which is a interesting development. I don't know that any of us had that tabbed for year one more or less for Barfield. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I guess like you always hear like, oh, future GM, like this guy. I mean, we heard it forever, right? We heard about Jeremy Haber, and like nobody was ever interested in him, and that was like one of the things like in the Kenny and Rick front office, Sleepy, was that like nobody ever hired anybody that worked under them for anything ever. So I think that was like the most significant part of this was just that somebody else wanted Josh Barfield. It wasn't, to me, the story isn't even that he chose to stay; it's that somebody else like wanted a White Sox employee.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most surprising news of all that, given the state of the team, that apparently he's intriguing enough to, get an interview at what was, a team that was in the postseason last year and like with the arrow pointing up and now just kind of whatever regress some, but still it was just was not expecting that, like you guys said.
Yeah, I will say, Ian, like that. The one thing, like, it was presented twice. It was like somebody wanted him for GM, and then or Baltimore wanted him for GM, and then Mark Feinsand said that he turned them down. It is kind of the same job that he has now. Like it's a GM job, but it's second in command because of title inflation, basically. Like all these teams, you hire a president of baseball ops, then you can hire somebody's assistant GM as GM, then you can hire somebody's scouting director as assistant GM, and it's just, kind of the way that it goes. I mean, in theory, Getz is the president of baseball operations for the White Sox, and his number 2 is Barfield. So it's really not that different other than the GM title.
Yeah. I mean, in the ultimate hierarchy of how things go, I mean, essentially that's what it is, right? If you've got a president of baseball operations, essentially, the GM is under him, as opposed to if they didn't have that position, he'd be just under the owner, like how it used to be. So, I mean, essentially, it's kind of the same thing as an AGM role. I would think that he probably have a little bit more say over personnel decisions. I'm actually kind of curious why he wouldn't entertain the offer of kind of job hopping. I mean, the way things are going now with workers' rights and how all that's gone since the pandemic, like everybody else in every other profession, it seems like they hop from place to place to try and bring their income level up. I'm actually kind of surprised that he wouldn't take that.
Yeah, and so I guess the question is like, does he want to run a team, right? And if he does, what gives him the best opportunity to do that? Is it staying as Chris Getz's number 2 in Chicago, or is it going and being the general manager in Baltimore? I guess I'd probably argue that it's going to Baltimore. He like clearly chose not to do that, so that's, yeah, I guess maybe that is the interesting part. I don't know, but he's clearly like it. This won't be the last one. I feel like the last time that we hear Josh Barfield up for one of these jobs.
Yeah, no, probably not. It's also interesting across town. Carter Hawkins has been rumored for the Nationals job, and so is there another one that I'm forgetting? I know there's at least one that he's been considered and has actually already interviewed as the Nationals to replace Rizzo.
Yeah, Nightingale said today that he's a finalist.
That's not bad.
And that's the
for
only
Cubs fans.
Like Sleepy, is that the only current opening? Like for head of base? I think it is, because
I believe so.
like there were like rumors that Pittsburgh would open and people thought Colorado would open,
Yeah.
and neither one of them have.
Yeah, but I mean, would you really want to dive into Colorado though? I mean, given what that is,
Probably
if it was
Pittsburgh's
open,
the same, right?
yeah,
Yeah, Pittsburgh, it's really hard to win with because like you'll just never spend. And even in Colorado, like if you think you have like grand plans, like the rest of the division is just brutal. Like I don't know how
yeah.
you. Yeah. So Washington, I mean, if Washington spends again, that one's fine, I guess, like in a major market. But man, I don't know. If I was a Nationals fan, Carter Hawkins, like that would not excite me. That's like not the direction that I would want to go.
Well, I mean, you can also look at the out of town stupid quotient. I mean, the Cubs have been like near playoffs for they were in the lead for the division for quite a long time. So maybe after having seen the Nats struggle for a couple of years, maybe now they're now that fires them up. I don't know.
Well, so I have some like plugged in like Cub fan buddies that like do stuff similar to us, and they don't like Carter Hawkins at all. They think that the Cub, that Jed basically really fell in love with the Cleveland thing, that he'd be able to come and like create this like pitching factory, and their big league pitching dev is really good, but their minor league pitching development hasn't been great. So, and he's kind of lacks aggression similarly to Hoyer. I think Jed Hoyer needs somebody next to him that's like super aggressive personally. That's like a yin and yang basically.
Washington's still
Washington,
they're not okay.
No, they so the Colorado will pick 11th and Washington will pick 12th.
That's what it was. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was the A's
or
if
10th,
it was them.
10th, 11th.
The A's are one of those teams as well, right?
Yeah, but their record's not right.
The Angels,
the A's are back.
And Rockies are the only ones that are outside.
Angels, Nationals, and Rockies. Yeah.
Yeah. Pittsburgh made the right move of picking Skeens. I would say so. But you know, you never know. You give that one a year or two, and you could have something. Who knows? So the White Sox core. How are we feeling about that, Sleepy?
I mean, it's definitely this second half has definitely given me a lot more optimism because we've seen guys come up and perform and not just like fall flat on their face or forget how to hit, which was like the long, the story of every other prospect, at least on the offensive side, that came up. They would just forget how to play baseball or something like Oscar Colas, go on and on. But these guys have come up and they've seemed ready for the challenge. And, there's always adjustment periods and mini slumps and whatnot, but like they've performed, they've kept their composure. It's been very nice and pleasurable to watch. That's for, for certain.
Yeah. We've seen some struggles there, as could be expected with an entire team of rookies, more or less.
Yeah.
I think that the free agent market this year will be interesting to see what kind of guys they pull in. I kind of, I didn't want to watch Josh Rojas play at all. Like I had zero interest in him getting any at bats whatsoever. But as far as attitude from a veteran, it seemed like he was the kind of guy that you like to have filled in with these guys that kind of helps solidify the team. It's like one of those meat in between the bones type of guys that builds the team out. But I don't know. You've seen a lot of power out of Colson. The one thing that hope that you don't continue to see is those days where he's going over with a bunch of strikeouts. So
Yeah, it's a 29% K rate in the majors, I think, so far. And I mean, the BABIP is like 230. So, because it's like all homers and Ks basically. But I think the defense has been pretty good. I think it's been a lot better than people were anticipating. So, like we've talked about this a ton. I don't think there's any reason to move him off of short. That helps you, obviously. I think Teal has obviously been awesome. Caro's been good, so you're good there. Mydroth's like numbers aren't great, but his second half is really good. Yeah, I don't think
started off really well too.
nobody thought they'd be 500 in the second half. So I think this is kind of a revelation. I'm really curious to see how much money they're going to spend. It's not going to be a ton, obviously, but like, do you add a couple of things? And then what do they do in the outfield? Because I don't think they can get rid of Benintendi, and I don't think you can have Benintendi and Talkman. I like Talkman, but your outfield can't be Benintendi, Robert, and Talkman again. Like going in, because like where are you at? You're adding a first baseman, and then that's like your only move. I mean, it just doesn't really make any sense. Obviously we'd all love to dump Benintendi, and then Talkman could be my left fielder. That would be great. That doesn't really seem feasible.
Kind of think it's also an issue with starting if you continue to roll out Talkman, Benintendi, and Robert, you're looking at putting three guys in the outfield that over the last like 4 years are like a 50% injured rate. You can't employ three guys in the out as your main starters in the outfield, guys that have been hurt for 60, 70 games a year for years now.
I'd say in Tuckman too seems like he could probably use a lot more days, out of the outfield as like his legs just, I mean, they just don't seem to
Yeah, he's like 35
to
years
work
old.
well. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand the struggle, but it's just like I think and especially too with like Braden's kind of second half performance, or when he got acclimated in Birmingham, like how fast his timeline could be for next year, like what they're they want to block him, like because how fast they want to push him. That's kind of the murky part there, but that's probably a little too far in front of the skis at this point.
I kind of think we're going to see Braden really quickly if he's good. You know what I mean? Like, because they were going to do the whole dog and pony show with Montgomery, and oh darn, he has to go to Charlotte. And then if he was good for 2 weeks, he was going to come right up, but he was terrible. So it like took a while. Like Braden, I don't know. Like they might even send him to Charlotte right away, and if he hits, like he's just in your outfield because there's there's no reason not to, basically. So yeah, that's one spot. I don't think they'll block him with like a long-term piece. I just like hope it's something like I hope the free agent signings are better than Josh Rojas and Michael A. Taylor and like these like $1 million free agent signings. Like it just doesn't, even like at first base. Can they afford Ryan O'Hearn? I don't know. Like Josh Naylor. We will see.
Austin Slater was the number one free agent acquisition, I would like to remind you.
Yeah, and he actually like did his job all year.
He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, he hit lefties.
Yeah, which was his job, apparently. Mm-hmm. So David brings up something that we have kind of talked about, and we kind of mentioned this thing a couple weeks ago, Sleepy, when you were not on. We had talked about the possibility, and I heard David Haw on Inside the Clubhouse say that there's absolutely no shot that the White Sox would, or somebody said, calling in saying that there was absolutely no shot that the White Sox would give Kyle Schwarber the kind of money that you are going to have to give him. But then you also see this as, can we please stop with Teal in the outfield garbage, let the rookie learn his actual job? So do you continue to, you want to get at-bats for Teal and Caro. So because you have two primary catchers, where do these guys fit then? Are you going to sit there and swap them off between DH and catcher every game? Is that feasible? They can both hit, but if you get a chance to really upgrade the lineup with somebody like a Schwarber, even if it's not him, somebody that hits 35 home runs every year.
Mhm.
Do you do that? I don't know.
I mean, I think especially for Teal, it would make not that I'm advocating for it, but he has played left field or outfield in college, so it's not that he's that far removed from doing it. Maybe if it was a way to get the bat in the lineup like once a week, so that he's not DHing, so you're not having to rotate. I guess it makes sense. But I mean, that's going on the scenario you have a permanent DH or somebody that's their spot because they mash and that's what they do. Like
Yep.
for now, it's fine
Yeah.
because who else is there? But if they got a competent DH to just lock in that spot for 150 games next year, I mean, you got to figure something out. But then that gets to you have Benintendi or Talkman is your backup outfielder those days. It makes it murky, but I guess it'd be a good problem to have, having better players available in the lineup more regularly. So
Yeah, I mean, how much are you going to play Kyle Teal against lefties? Is the question.
yeah, true.
like every day. Like, can he get done? Because I think like Caro should probably catch versus left-handed pitching if possible, and then you just figure out a way to get Caro into the lineup against righties somehow. Basically, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, especially if they get like a left-handed hitting first baseman. I think they probably need a right-handed hitting outfielder, and then you have like the Luis Robert thing too, where like, I think we're all pretty certain at this point that they're picking up the option, but I am not at all certain that he's on their opening day roster.
Mm-hmm.
So, there might be like another glaring hole in the outfield too.
Yeah, this is one that I kind of talked to somebody about on Twitter or YouTube or one of the comment sections about Max Muncy, and he's intriguing. If you look at his numbers, even though he did spend a bunch of time on the IL this year, his numbers off of the IL are like, I think he's got like a 147 WRC plus or something. The dude's murdering the baseball, but he still has a club option for next year for like $10 million. And I don't think that the Dodgers are going to let him walk.
For
And
that,
yeah, exactly. And also, I think that for the White Sox, it also doesn't make sense because, again, you're looking at a guy that was injured for like 35-40% of the season, which is, if that's your top free agent it's hard to sell a guy that's injured for a third of the year.
Yeah.
And has been for like the last 2 or 3 years.
Sleepy, does Ryan Fuller's presence like stop you from being scared to death of somebody like that? Like of Max Muncy is like the guy that comes to the White Sox and he's just horrendous. And like his career's over. Like we're all excited. Oh man, look at these numbers, and then he's just horrible. And we're just like, oh yeah.
So like, yeah, that would be like my initial like natural reaction is like, okay, this is like an aging player who's been hurt who will come here and just die because that's how it's gone. The story has been. So I would like to think with the progress we have seen with at least some of the young players under Ryan Fuller and the minors, both majors and minors, like I would like to think that, hey, maybe they could kind of keep that momentum going. But yeah, you sign Muncy and then, I mean, I think even last year too, it was the same thing where he missed a big chunk of time because of some sort of injury. And okay, so you're out, your big guy's out for a third of the year. You're still in the same infield logjam problem of nobody being able to hit. So again, it would be exciting. It would be like progress in the right direction, spending money, but like, I don't know, what does it accomplish if he's there? It's a Luis Robert thing. It's like, it's great when he's in the lineup, but when he's not, like with, okay, what are we going to do now?
Do we think that these guys are like the long-term guys that are going to be sticking around with the White Sox in these roles in Bannister and Fuller?
I think so. Because I don't know what they would be like promoted to do. Like Bannister, I think, is on record as saying he doesn't want to do like more than this. Right? Because like, could he go the Craig Breslow route and like run a team? Maybe, but he just doesn't seem like he wants to work that hard. He wants to just kind of tinker with pitchers and watch video and offer advice and stuff. Like I just
still be able to go and see his kids.
Yeah, this is like exactly. This is like the perfect role for him. He like likes doing pop-ins and going to Sabre seminars and learning like the new stuff. And like, yeah, I mean, Craig Breslow probably doesn't have time to do that stuff.
Think Fuller's sticking around? That he doesn't get like a, I don't know, just a regular hitter, coach of hitting for some franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is technically higher on the totem pole, right? It just depends on what he wants. Like, I'm sure if he like wanted to be the White Sox big league hitting coach, they'd just make him the big league hitting coach, right? But I
Yeah.
don't know, like maybe he wants this.
I mean, it
role,
would seem like, yeah, he's like the hitting czar of the organization, right? I mean,
yeah, he's in charge of all
being
of
a hitting coach would seem to be a step down because I don't know. I mean, just on the totem pole of an organization, you would think that would be, if he wanted to do it, I'm sure they'd let him. But I think being like, hey, this is what we do, this is our philosophy, implement it, seems to be,
Yeah.
unless he like wants to run his own like hitting academy, which I suppose he could do. But I don't know. I don't know if that would mesh with a major league season. I don't.
He was kind of given the say so on whether Marcus Timms was sticking around. Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah. So I had heard rumors that that might quietly they might just have a new big league hitting coach, because like I had heard the name of, and I forgot, I said it like on 2 episodes ago, I think, that it's like the Rangers minor league hitting coordinator is like tight with Venable. Yeah, Venable kept like a lot of staff that Getz like already had here, and I'm sure it wasn't a deal breaker, obviously, right? But I do think if there's like a couple of changes to the staff, it shouldn't be that surprising.
Interesting. Be another interesting offseason. We'll see. I mean, not only is the free agent market going to be interesting for the White Sox, do you think that there's like possibility of some trades going on here with I mean, technically we have a bunch of guys coming back from Tommy John surgery, so that kind of throws things in flux a little bit here. But it seems like they have a glut of pitching. Do you see them making some deals here to get rid of some of that minor league pitching to improve things?
I mean, I would say so, because if you're not going to spend and you want to improve, you deal from your strength, and the pitching department seems to be where it's at. I mean, who they would choose to move, you guys might have a better idea on that, but like, I think, I mean, trades would definitely be enticing. Like, what would you picture like in a rough scenario? Like, is that for like a minor league swap, like minor league player prospect swap, or like package for something like fringy, like
Right.
major league guy? I don't know. That's what, trying to like ballpark something in my head. Like, I don't even know where they would attack it from.
Well, I think I said like a few weeks ago, like, does like Sean Burke, Lenine Sosa, and like a close to the majors minor league reliever get you like, one of these like Vargas types that you've always liked that's like on your big league team right away, right? Like,
Yeah.
like a couple of, because like even looking at the 40 man, and like Jim Margolis just wrote something at Sox Machine, like basically talking about what we talked about last Sunday, Ian. Like, just here's all these Rule 5 names. Here's all your guys coming off the 60 day. You can probably do it, but like they have decisions to make if you also want to add like 5 free agents, right? Like you're just gonna have you're like some of these guys are you're gonna have to move them. Like does Brian? Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, Sean Burke and Sosa for Dolander would be awesome. I'm in.
Why not?
Where's Uncle Ted? I need his trade idea. Like some lefty power
For Spencer
right?
Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can get somebody trade a bunch of dudes that stink for somebody that's really good. But no, like I won't be surprised by anything. Like, if you like all of a sudden like Jonathan Cannon's traded for something younger and it frees up, because that's the thing. Like, as many of these pitchers as like we have that are like back end guys, like I think they can find back end guys anywhere. Like they've just shown you that they can. Like over the last 2 years, like Eric Fetty was a good deal. They found Shane Smith. They found Hauser and flipped him. Like even like Yohendris Gomez right now is like functional, right? Like they're gonna do this. Like they're gonna, they'll have the number 2 pick in the Rule 5 draft again. Maybe they'll get somebody else. Like I'm not worried about them finding back end pitching. I think at this point it's just kind of like, are the guys that are supposed to be good enough?
I guess my feeling is that when I see the fact that the White Sox can do things like bring Yoendrys Gomez up and get useful innings out of him, they can grab Shane Smith out of a Rule 5. Davis Martin turns into a guy. I often forget that other teams just miserably fail at this, and that the back end of their rotation is an absolute travesty. So I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to trade, at least some of the guys down in the farm system. I guess at that point it just becomes a, tier list of who you're willing to give up and what somebody else is willing to give you back for that, I suppose. So speaking of Sleepy, you brought up academies. The White Sox have been rumored
This is gross.
to be signing some kid from a middle school
Yes.
on an island south of Miami.
An island far, far away. Yes.
What does that mean for the White Sox international system?
Sleepy, you want to do this? Like I feel like people come to you and I for this sort of thing. That's why I wanted to have you, because while this is like very positive in my opinion,
Yes.
we just like never have to broach it because it's just so weird and gross.
Yeah.
And like there's all the rumors that Jerry doesn't like this part of the business and that's why they don't do it, or I don't know if it's that or they're just like incompetent, or like Kenny likes 20-year-old Cubans because they can help sooner. There's like a whole right, but like the White Sox don't do this. So for anybody that hasn't seen, they have an agreement with the top international prospect in 2030.
Allegedly.
Yeah, for $6 million, which is a big, which is like a big time bonus. Like this will be probably the top bonus in that class. And look, we can get into like whether there will even be an international signing class then. But like if it's the top guy in 2030, Sleepy, what does that mean? How old is this kid right now?
It is reported he is 12.
Yes. So the White Sox have agreed to give a 12-year-old $6 million 5 years from now. Yeah. And it's great because this is what the Padres do and the Yankees do and the Dodgers when they sign like the top kid in all these classes. Like they usually reach that agreement. I think like at 13, 14 usually. But Wander Franco maybe he's a bad
Mets
example.
Just did it last year for $5 million.
Yeah, for the 20
or whatever.
Elian Pena. Right?
Elian Pena, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they knew that they were signing him for years.
Sure.
Right? This is how this works.
Same thing, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. It just and people are like, "Oh, why is this leaking out right now?" The White Sox aren't going to say anything about this for 5 years, even off the record. By the way, this is all like Dominican reporters and stuff who talk to the Buscones that Ian always talks about, and the agents and the trainers and all these other people that are like basically like stealing money from these kids down there.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing too, like the White Sox strategy. I think like this has to be the most alleged prominent signing they've had since like a top of the class guy since Mike Adolfo.
And that was like
in 2013,
$5 million or something.
Yeah, I mean, which is like obviously this is like a drastic difference, and like it's a very positive like development that they're willing to dip into the pool of like signing the elite prospect type like this, but it's also very unsettling that that's how this works, and it's just weird. Like it's weird to be like jacked up to sign a 12-year-old 4 or 5 years from now because like it's just the system, and it makes sense, like why you would be like adverse to wanting to do it because it's weird. But like this, if you're a big player in the market and want like this kind of talent, like you do it. You have to do it. So.
Yeah, I mean, if he's the top player in that class, right? And in theory, 26, 27, 28, 29, those players are all kind of accounted for. I mean,
yeah.
For the most part, because we just explained how this process works. and they're willing to pay like top dollar for the top guy in that class. That's a positive. Like that David Keller like knows how this works, and Chris Getz is like, good, do it. Like,
Mhm.
a lot can happen between now and then. People talk about like how binding is it? It's not binding at all, but like, look, it's going to be tough for somebody else top 6 million. So I would say if there's an international class in 2030 and we're all still here, this probably happens. But there could be an international draft by then, which would change everything.
Yeah, because with it, I mean, I know they tried to throw it in the last CBA.
Yeah, they always try to
with
put it
the
in at the
agreement.
end, which is
They
why
always try to
never
put it
happens.
in,
Yeah.
and then they had the extension, and it missed, and whatever. They still have their pool. Like, I wonder too. Like, I know they're building the new academy, and I think it's supposed to open or be ready to open next, like
I
the
think
end of next
mid-season
season,
next year. Yeah.
mid.
Yeah.
So like, and I don't know how much of a selling point that would be. Is like, hey, because I mean, essentially what they do, if they do have the agreement, right? And he's pretty much going to go into hiding. Like, you're not really going to see or hear a lot about him. It's like, hey, we're going to have this brand new facility. Come here and practice and mash and whatever. And when you're eligible to sign in 3, 2.5, whatever years it is at that point, like, here you go. You can train at this brand sparkling, shiny new toy. I don't know if that's part of the selling point. It's all weird and kind of gross, but like maybe this is all like it's all part of it. We've just the Sox have never done it. They always went after the immediate help Cuban guys that are, hey, you're 20, you can theoretically be in the majors in like a year and a half if all goes right. But like most of the time that didn't really work.
Yeah.
But still,
I don't even know this, and I probably should. Is he Dominican or Venezuelan?
I thought it was Dominican.
Okay,
I
so
think Dominican.
I thought
so that's like a drastic positive change too. That part of it, because they've been like dead in the Dominican Republic for years, which is like basically Marco Patty's downfall. It was like high level old guys out of Cuba, Venezuelan, like interesting Venezuelans pitching, and no position players out of the Dominican, which is like the number one hotbed in this market essentially. Like, and like everything David Keller said last year, I loved hearing. But the thing you have to understand is like even like the 26 class in January, there's like I think there's 2 rumored signings for that class already. I mean, those are Marco Patty signings still. Because we're seeing right now how this works, right? Like I don't even know when the like first real David Keller class is coming, like 28 maybe, So I don't know. Joshua, it is the cheapest way to add premium talent, that's for sure. That's because I mean, as much as we're like, oh, you're gonna blow your whole pool, like $6 million is nothing for like a talent that's supposedly as good as this one.
Known Cuban hater James Hesterman says no Cubans. I mean, this is just a random question, but I mean, did the White Sox finally hire somebody that's willing to actually do those things, or is it a change with the White Sox that they actually have finally realized that the way that we make the best moves in the international market is by leveraging preteens?
Sleepy, I just picture like Jerry Reinsdorf like shoved in a closet with the door locked, like.
I know they like that's the only reason.
Or he's like, wait, 20. He's like 2030. Oh, I'm gonna be gone by then. That's fine. Do whatever you want.
The bench warmers thing. They wrote like they put his picture on a piece of paper, but they
exactly.
wrote "I am 16" on it instead. So they're like, okay, it's a little bit better, maybe Jerry.
Yeah, he's like that's Ishbia's problem. Like this,
exactly. That's an Ishbia issue.
This is January of 2030. He's like, if I'm not dead, I will be not running this team anymore.
Yeah. So I mean,
blast from the past. Odrasamer Despagne, great comment here, Vince.
Yes.
How are we going to feel if when Ishbia finally comes in? Do you see him sitting behind the dugout with a headset like Irsay's daughter?
Yeah. So I actually like don't hate that if she wants to learn the business. Like as long as she's not like, hey, go for it here. Like I don't really have a problem with her on there, but like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, Ishbia sits like in the
Yeah,
scout
he
seat
sits there.
sometimes. Yeah, he's
We'll
sometimes he's
see
just
him.
like hanging out. His kids like sit there and eat hot dogs. Like like
Yeah.
it's. I mean, what would you be doing? That's what I'd be doing if I had a
I
billion
guess,
dollars.
yeah, if I was a part majority owner, whatever, I'd sit front row and smash a
Yeah, I'd
bunch of
probably
hot
just go to
dogs too.
baseball games and not work. It would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Seems.
actually like baseball, it makes sense, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Did you see Vince said Reinsdorf was only 78 when this kid was born?
good lord. So moving along here, I just wanted to point out, moving along to the minor leagues here, because if you guys don't know, our guy down here at the end, Sleepy, does the trending on the farm series every week, and Riley Gowans has turned in a pretty fantastic. So he hit a dead arm period at a point during this year and had a couple of tough starts in a row. But since then, out of seven out of 8 starts, he's gone 5+, and he's only allowed 9 runs in those 8 starts. He's kind of been an anchor in Birmingham. What are your thoughts on what we can expect from him next year?
I mean, so like, I'm surprised I mean, I guess not surprised at this moment because they need, with them promoting Shane Murphy, they need somebody to kind of anchor the Birmingham rotation. They're trying to repeat. Um, I mean, for next year, I mean, he's by far the team leader in strikeouts, 151. Next closest is Hagen with 108. Um, like you said, he had the little dead arm period, but he's usually nails like all the time. I do whenever I'm writing up the trending on the farm. There was a time where I didn't have to edit any of the starting pitchers for Birmingham. I would just have to change the whatever their start was and just put it in and like edit some of the words because it was clockwork all the time. For next year, I mean, I think it'd be reasonable to expect him to. Do you think it's even necessary for him to go? I mean, I guess he's like a fringy guy to go to Charlotte, but would he be some? I don't. You probably Ian. You probably see more of like the velo numbers. Like I don't know what he sits at routinely, but like would he be
It's
some?
like
If you move
94.
him to the 94, so like
Yeah, I think it's like
move him to
94,
the pen.
95.
Is he like a move to the pen, pick up a couple, and just middle relief? Like would get him quicker, like in spring training or something. Because I mean, he's obviously has the durability to start, but I don't know what they see him as like because they seem to have a lot of starting options. So I don't know that he fits into there, but as a bullpen arm, I think considering what he shows he can dominate, and he's done that in like shorter bursts, velo tick up,
Yeah, I kind of think, it's just like it's kind of, you heard when the Aaron Bummer trade was made that he was kind of like a last minute addition to the trade. And I mean, to me, it more or less looked like, hey, Atlanta's like, hey, so if you take this stuff that we're getting rid of in a trade for Aaron Bummer, we'll give you this if you'll just take these guys. That's that was the guy that they chose in that deal. But if in revisionist history, I would like to say that the White Sox said that's the guy that we want. We'll take these guys from you to make your decisions easier if for this deal. But I honestly don't know. I don't know what to make of him for next year. I don't know. There's so many more guys I would think that have priority there.
yeah.
So that's what makes it tough for me to kind of decide like who's going to be the guy that's going to move up. I'm assuming that like the Evan McKendrys and the Clevenger and uh guys like that are going to move along.
Hmm.
But
But
you'll have new guys that are the same.
Sure.
Like they do it every year,
And with
right? So
and
I
with the
would think
rash of
Gowans is
pitching
in Charlotte.
injuries they had too, like he could be a necessity for the rotation there, given that what 6 guys went down with
Yeah.
TJ in spring, so like maybe he's just needed to eat innings there. I don't, but like I think, I mean, I think
Well,
if
they're
they tried to shorten him, we could see
They're
it.
not all going to be back like right away though. It's very
Sure.
staggered.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could be in Charlotte. I just think he's probably in Charlotte, and he's like one of your next. I mean, obviously, like I think Spencer Adams
Spencer Adams.
Spencer Adams.
Oof.
My goodness,
Whoa.
that's
Name
He's
drop.
finally healthy again.
Yes.
Yes.
that's a blast from the past. Mason Adams, Kai Bush, like some of these other guys, I think are like ahead of him, but they're just like not ready.
Yeah, and I mean Connor McCullough kind of made it back kind of quick. I want to say, to actually like pitching in games. I think he kind of. I'd have to go back and look exactly when he dropped out, but I feel like he came back pretty quick. But I feel like at least one or two of these guys is probably going to come back fairly quick. But again, we're looking at an innings limit, and I was actually talking to somebody earlier today about the fact that these bullpens are just getting absolutely gassed at every single level because it seems like
all the starters are on 3 inning limits.
Exactly. Is that everybody's at like a 45 pitch limit or, can only pitch 5 innings. And then so you're eating up 4 innings. So your bullpen's eating up, 24 plus innings a week.
Yeah,
and that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
Drew Thorpe carry, like I saw it written that he's like targeting the All-Star break for a return, I believe. Like June-ish, or maybe, I guess the All-Star break's in July, but it won't be, it won't be a surprise if it's like that long, basically. It's like 15 months.
Yeah, I think I would think that Larson's going to, probably the ACL for a little bit and then hopefully moving to Canny right away. But,
he'll be on like that Christian Opper, plant, like, where it's just kind of, he's slow played a little bit. Who do we have Prelander Baroa, who would essentially be in the big leagues. Kai Bush, probably Charlotte or the big leagues, and that's the thing. Like a guy like Kai Bush could come back, like everything goes right. I mean, he could throw 97 out of the pen with a good breaking ball. Or he could be nothing because, he doesn't make it back, whatever. But yeah, I mean, these like close to the majors guys that went down, it's pretty interesting. There's like a whole handful of them.
Yeah, earlier today, I was watching the Barons, and you had Andrew Dahlquist, Jared Kelly, and then Caleb Freeman were the last 3 pitchers in the game. And I'm just sitting here like running through all these names of who the White Sox are going to have to shuffle around and promote or let go or whatever. And it's just there are just so many names trying to make sense of it all. Like that part's going to be different. I mean, I have to imagine, like they're probably just going to throw up on the big whiteboard in the war room, just like everybody's names, and have to go through all this stuff and decide what they're going to do.
Well, and the relievers that they like because they're sending a couple of them to the Arizona Fall League. And it was kind of like, ooh, that's like Carson Jacobs, right? Like, wasn't like a big time prospect, but that's a guy they like if they're sending him there.
Dude's got he's got stuff, I noticed it last year as soon as he came up with the Cannonballers. I was like, whoa, who's this 69 or this 6'9" guy?
Yeah,
that's just throwing heat with the nasty sinker, and he's been pretty good. So
baseball asked too about the guy we got for Middleton. He's thinking Juan Corella is also down with Tommy John as well. Yeah, he's in their system.
And Kevin, yes, Kai Bush did start for the Sox, but I mean, he made 3 starts from when he got called up to when he got pulled for TJ. So I don't know that you can really trust exactly. It could have been just his elbow sore, and he just pitched through it for a couple of games, and then boom, he's done for TJ.
Could have theoretically been injured like that whole time.
Because like right before he was called up too, he was in Birmingham and was just like lights out. He was awesome. Shoving. He was awesome, and what got promoted, and was just like lost it right away.
Then Charlotte happened to him. He was a victim. He was a victim of Charlotte.
Yeah, I think he had something like a 1 whip or something like that in Birmingham before he got pulled up. So, I mean, clearly there's something there. It's just what he can do. So Sleepy, what do you make of Lucas Gordon? Because this year with Winston-Salem, he was like 0 in a billion, and then he
Yeah.
goes to Birmingham and he's allowed like 4 hits across 4 starts or whatever and has allowed like one or two runs.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's just because the umpires are better in Double A that he's getting more of maybe that some of the calls are missing in High A, but he seemed to be that I don't know the command over stuff guy, like similar kind of to like Mason Adams, how he was thought of before. It was just like this is a guy who's just here and can eat innings, but then was just like good performed, and Lucas Gordon came up and or since being promoted to Birmingham has been he's been impressive, and like the brief action he's seen. I mean, again, like I don't know. I probably have to see how many starts does he have there? Like 3 or 4 now.
I thought it was
Total?
4. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
was
I
4.
think that's right. So,
I
I
think
mean,
the
it definitely.
fourth one was today.
Okay, the fourth was today. Okay, so definitely like heading into next year, like it'll be something to keep track of as to how like an extended look there will play, because if you have it's like a Shane Murphy thing. He's not going to blow you away with the stuff, but like at some point, it's hard to ignore the 1 point whatever ERA and a minuscule whip. Like you have to kind of put some respect on it at some point. So for me, it'll be interesting to see how Lucas Gordon will do with an extended look, or should be an extended look next season with the Barons. But the early returns are great, I will say. So.
So Jack asks, have you guys seen Yoiker Fajardo's stats? I was told
I
that we
avoid
wouldn't
them.
miss
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
But I will say this. Yes, his numbers look really, really good. But when I saw him pitch against the Cannonballers, I won't say that I didn't think he was any good, but I didn't think his numbers should be that good. That was my thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
did see he didn't he win Player of the Month or something for them for like in the Red Pitcher of the Month?
He did. He was their minor league
Yeah.
pitcher of the month. Yeah.
I try to
Yes.
avoid similar
And
to
we
you
have
guys.
we have Cam Booser. So, ha.
Who's
He's just
pitching in
doing all
Charlotte
the clubhouse repairs. Wasn't he a carpenter or something?
Yeah, he's a carpenter.
Before?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good idea. Have him fix up like any woodworking
Which one of
jobs
you-
that we have going on.
This seems like a job for Ian to help James Hesterman here. Who wants to explain Shane Murphy? He said
Can I explain him?
He said, "Explain Shane Murphy." That's what the
Dude can
thing
pitch.
says.
Yeah, he can. He's got great command, and he knows what he wants to do, and he does it. I mean, that's like I guess that's like the best way that I can explain Shane Murphy is that he doesn't have overpowering stuff, but what he does really well.
Yeah.
I
I put
think
him
it
in the
just
Mason
throws
Adams
everybody
bucket.
off. Yeah.
For me personally, like him and Mason Adams are kind of like how you said, he knows what he wants to do and just does it. And Mason Adams pre-injury, of course, but that's where I just kind of grew attached. I liked him when they drafted him, and he put up nice numbers. But then this year was just I didn't expect that. So
Yeah.
No, he just knows how to pitch, man. Like, he's good.
yeah,
He made it into the back half of our 30 and Baseball America's 30 without. I mean, his stuff's just okay, but he like really knows how to pitch.
So wasn't Shane Murphy's his brother? Was he like a 6th rounder or something by the Blue Jays?
Maybe that's.
I know he
right.
pitched in the majors. For I think the Blue Jays are.
So he's another John Kazanis, like Arizona guy. Mark Burley, Tanner Banks, host of others. That John Kazanis finds out in Arizona. So Sleepy, beginning of the year, me and Ian talked a lot because people asked about like what a successful season for the White Sox would look like, right? And I think it was tough to put like a win-loss barometer on this. As you know, like
Sure.
obviously
Yeah.
don't win 41 again, please, for the love of God. But I mean, I think I said like, if at the end of the year I feel like their hitting development was better under a guy like Ryan Fuller, like check, right? That's one. I think I feel pretty good about that going forward. And just like more synchronization, like between departments, find a couple of guys that you think could be core contributors on your next good team and have like number one pick draft odds. They did all that, I think. I think it's a success.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I will say the first half of the season, at least with the major league club, was like a slog to get through. That was tough because it was a lot of just old bad retread guys, and then you saw like Colson really struggling, and all the guys were down in the minors. But like we kind of mentioned earlier, like when they came up, they looked like they belonged, and it's not going to be perfect. It feels like, I don't know the exact number, but it feels like half the team, nearly half the team is rookies. So this is their first taste. And like, yeah, you expect some struggles, but like, we knew they weren't going to be great, but we've seen like the positive signs, and they're in the Rock Chalowski or whoever, you know, you want to put it 1-1 conversation for next year. They're I think firmly in control unless they go on a real heater for the last 2 weeks of the season. But yeah, I mean, I think post break this has been as successful as you could spin whatever the record is, 57 and or 57 and 93, whatever it is. So I mean, it's definitely positive. Now, like these guys need to do it for more than half a season, of course, as we go into next year. But it's definitely promising returns, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they'd get to 60, and I think they're going to get to, if they're
Yeah.
61 and 101 or whatever, like I think, that's a
Mm-hmm.
20 win improvement. And you're going to go into the year like feeling pretty good about Colson and Teal and some pitching, and then you have Caro and Mydroth as other parts of potentially whatever. Like I think Montgomery and Teal are the two big ones. I mean, they're both going to put up 2 WAR seasons, like basically just playing in the second half. I mean, they look like
Yeah.
definite regulars like right now. So yeah, so I do think it's just I think it's going to be interesting. They need lottery luck for sure. I mean, if you guarantee me the 3 pick right now, I take it. Like number 3 would be great. Like that would be fine. Like deathly afraid of this system, but all you can do is like watch it and hope, basically,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't like end up with the 7th pick or something.
We'll end up with 6 and then not be eligible to
Yeah,
pick
next
the
year.
lottery
Yeah,
the next year
yeah.
because they won the lottery by falling 5 spots,
That's
which was the dumbest.
That's Ian's nightmare.
Yeah,
If we
it's the
that
dumbest
happens,
part
we're
of
not
it.
Lose
even
my mind.
we're not even going to be able to record. If
Yeah. Yeah.
I will be livid.
Yeah, I hope that
Um,
the next CBA, I hope that gets rectified.
Well, like the thing
That
is,
if you fall, you should not win the lottery
I think
by their
like
definition.
four is probably the cutoff, right? Like you could live with 4, but like I'd rather pick 7 than 5 or 6
Yeah,
because
I mean,
if it
yeah,
did,
at that point,
if it didn't count as winning the lottery, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
because like you
and
could pick
that's the
7 and still
part.
be eligible the next year.
Yes,
yeah,
like that's
at
that's the
least,
big problem with it.
at least. I think it should be like top 3. Like, there's no way you should be eligible for the top overall pick if you're, picking
Mhm.
3rd the year before.
Yeah,
Like, I get that, but I mean, like, to say that picking 6th is winning the lottery when you actually drop is ridiculous.
Yeah,
So Sleepy, um, part of your thing that you do on the trending on the farm is the ACL. So Doug asks who from the ACL might break out next year. Just give him a couple of names here. I mean, Fabian Isala moved up to Cannonballers already, so we don't have him. Leandro
yeah,
Alcinois also up, but who else?
yeah. So Fabian Yisal was the guy who I believe I put at number 30 on my list from rough memory. Um, who he's a young righty and just put up good numbers throughout the season. Who James, help me out here. Who was the outfielder that they promoted from the DSL
Oh yeah,
to
Christian
Christian
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez? He's a guy to keep an eye on who just performed well in the DSL and then got to the ACL and kept producing. I mean, the weird part with the ACL was that they had a lot of like older, like just like
Yeah,
older dudes that were
they
just
had
kind
like
of there.
25-year-old guys there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's hard. You can't like put any stock into that. But who was man? Now I can't remember who his name was, but he was the starting like outfielder last year in Kannapolis, and he spent the whole year in
Oh
Arizona.
yeah, you had like Alcala was there, and
Gosh,
yeah,
He came over
Alcala.
from the Red Sox. His name is
yeah,
escaping me.
Albert
Yeah, Asigan.
Eskinen.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Segan, yeah.
him. Yeah, but he was like a young dude, and then just like okay, just kind of seemed destined for that. So it's really the younger players are the ones you really need to pay attention
yeah.
to there, and they didn't really have a whole lot. I mean, I guess like Landon Hodge,
Will be there.
we're
Yeah.
thinking will be
I
there.
think Hodge and Boughton will both be there next year,
Boughton,
and then I think you'll have
yeah,
multiple guys from the DSL coming potentially.
yes,
Because I think Carlson and Fauski are going to be on the bottomer path. Like they're going to Kannapolis.
sure, yeah. Because what do you think? Herrera from the DSL
Oh, I don't
and
know. Maybe even Cruz still. I mean, he
yeah,
had like a really rough start, but he's like 18 and he was good like in his last like 40 games.
hmm
Like there's got like Frank Mieses made the DSL All-Star team. Like that's probably
sure,
your rookie. That's probably your rookie ball team next year.
yeah.
Because it
So I
does
mean,
seem like Keller will sign full class of position players to play, right? I don't know if they're any good, but there will
yeah,
be, at least like 10 plus position players signed in January that'll like be in the DSL playing. Like it's very rare that guys hold over. The White Sox guys do because our classes have been so bad.
mhm.
So I'm just baseball asked how different is the ACL from the DSL skill wise?
Oof.
I would say, and I don't know what your background is, baseball is like to what level you played, but if I was to say something, I would say it would be like a difference between like sophomore versus varsity high school ball. It's like it's a step up in competition, and it kind of is going to make or break guys, I guess, because if you get somebody from the DSL that may have looked okay in the DSL, if they come to the ACL and they're not actually that guy, they'll
Yeah.
get shown up really quick.
Well, it's kind of like Sleepy was saying, like you could have multiple 25-year-old pitchers that would be like really good in the Frontier League,
Yeah,
like go to Arizona and throw out of the bullpen and they're like fine, right? But they're not prospects, but like they're striking out teenagers. That does not happen in the DSL. The DSL is like teenagers. Like occasionally there's like a 22-year-old Venezuelan catcher or like some pitcher that like can't hit that's like converting that's older.
yeah.
But the product is really very bad.
Yeah, and generally like the DSL too, like it's just like gaudy walk numbers because nobody can find the plate. So like you see a lot of like inflated on base percentages because there's games that are like just littered with just walks and
Yeah.
walks and walks, and there's slogs to get through. So it's
Remember?
like Benjamin Bailey when who was posting
Oh
like
God.
450. It was the behemoth person.
Benjamin
I mean, I
Bailey.
loved him. It's just like following him in the DSL, and then he was
You
like he
love
did
the
okay in the
thought of him.
ACL.
You
The
love the
thought
It's
of him,
why
thought.
I'm
exactly. The thought of
it's
him.
it's why I'm just like scarred. I'm always so careful to like rank those guys because it's just you don't
Yeah,
know what it means. Ian, it kind of reminds me of like when you go see 5-year-old baseball and they just like run the bases and score because like the ball is being thrown. You know what I mean? It's like don't stop until you're out. Basically, that's the DSL.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Like it's so bad.
What's
Loud
the
tools. That's what the people look for.
yes,
That's exactly it. It's just loud tools. Who's got the loud tools? You know, you got Norge Vera, 21-year-old over there, striking out 16-year-olds at an amazing clip. You know, Ian loves the thought of Albertus. I mean, I am still not convinced that he actually exists.
he's a
Carrie and I have
ghost
had this
until further
conversation.
notice.
Exactly. I don't know that he's actually anything for real. Um, You got anything else? Anything else this week, there, James, that you are really aching to get out here into
I don't think
the
so. We're
world?
getting to the what do we got? 12 big league games left, right?
Mhm.
Something like that.
Yeah, so we'll see if they, I think the talking point will be if they can avoid 100 losses. I don't know that they're going to quite get there, but it's not it'll be 60 wins probably, I would think, which is a, pretty significant improvement.
Yeah,
I
I'd have
would
to go
love to
6 and
see them.
6.
Yeah, I would love to see them not lose 100, but I mean, because now that they've got the number one seed all locked up,
It's
I don't
basically locked
care.
up. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and win. Go win out. Win all 12. Let's avoid 100. Let's you know, that'd be great. I just don't. Me and Sleepy were talking about this before you hopped on in the lobby beforehand, James. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough for them to go 6-6. I think with this competition coming up.
Yeah.
You good
Yeah.
for me walking this thing out? All right. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out, Sleepy. Appreciate it. If you
Thanks for
guys
having me.
do not follow at Sleepy_Harold_, he does our trending on the farm series, and when he can get free from his Rugrats, he comes and hangs out with us sometimes. So thanks for coming and hanging out. We appreciate you. Thank you. All right. You have been watching / listening to the FutureSox podcast on the Just Baseball Media Network. If you are listening to this in podcast form, know that you can find us every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and the Purple app. You can also find this podcast along with all of our written content at FutureSox.net. If you are looking for White Sox prospect highlights, you can find them on X at FutureSox. And now also here on our YouTube channel. If you love the content and want to support us here at FutureSox, there's a link to our Patreon in our channel description and at FutureSox.net. You can also toss up a super chat on our YouTube stream. Also, don't forget to like this stream and subscribe with notifications so you know when we're going live while helping us in the World Wide Web algorithms. My name is Ian Eskridge at Daily White Sox. He is James Fox at JamesFox917. He is Steve Hasman at Sleepy Harold. Thank you for listening. Thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. We will catch up with you guys next week some point, Sunday 8 p.m. like normal. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out in the chat. Thanks for driving the conversation. We appreciate you, and we will catch you guys next week. Have a great week. Thanks.